Welcome to another unboxing from theplayersaid.com. My name is Grant. This is a game that I've been anticipating for quite a while. In fact, I've known about this game for well over 2 years. Alexander did an interview with the designer Jerry White well over 2 years ago on this game. And it's one of those games that when I saw it, I thought to myself, I got to figure out what this is because it looks unique, different, and interesting. And you know, for me, one of the reasons I play these games is I'm trying to learn, trying to understand military conflict and operations, etc. So this game is called Atlantic Chase. The subtitle is The Kriegsmarine Against the Home Fleet, 1939 to 1942, from GMT Games. This is brand new, released from the P500 just this month in March. I've had it for 3 or 4 days and have not had a chance yet to get it unboxed. So that's why we're here. I have been looking at the rules and the playbook. I did watch, for your information, if you have this game and you're struggling with it, there is a series of 10 3 to 5 minute videos posted on GMT's YouTube channel, put together to describe the different phases and segments and actions. And man, I'm going to tell you, they're really helpful and have given me a very good or a better understanding of the game until I get it to the table and actually play it. One of the things I want to point out, this is called Intercept Volume 1. I'm not sure if that's a new series. I looked on the website and I don't remember ever having had that explained. But I think that's kind of cool. Maybe they're going to use the system and look at different theaters and different conflicts. You know, maybe this would be great in the Pacific or even the Mediterranean. So who knows? But it's Intercept Volume 1. Great looking box as always. GMT does a really good job with their boxes. Part of that is that RBM Studio is their main art consultant, and they have always done a great job on covers. This is a huge box, very heavy. There's a lot of stuff inside. It's brim. It literally is packed to the gills. You're going to open it and immediately see stuff. It's right at the top. Very heavy. There's a lot of wood, a lot of player aids, 4 very thick books. Rule book, playbook, etc. We'll get into that. But let's go ahead and look at the back of the box. So you can see this is a look at the map. And you can see it's hexagonal delineation of the sea spaces between major ports in the North Atlantic and the Arctic Sea, I believe, right? There's the North Atlantic. Sorry, my eyes aren't working great. The North Sea, Norwegian Sea, etc. I said Arctic Sea. Sorry about that. But you can see it's hexagonal, and then there's ports and different boxes and maps, or boxes and information on the maps. Here, if we look at the information box, the game is actually playable by 1 to 2 players. There's a fully fleshed out solo mode, 1 to 2 players. There are multiple scenarios, and then there's a couple of different campaigns. You can see that most of the scenarios play in 1 to 3 hours. The campaigns are 4 to 12 hours. Complexity is a 5, and solitaire suitability is a 9. I'm really struggling with this box. It's really heavy. Holding it up like that with one hand is a challenge. I bet this thing weighs 5 pounds. But that's a look at the outside. Let's go ahead and pop in. Once again, very interested in this game. Very excited to get it to the table. In fact, I think we're trying to bone up on the rules to try and play it this weekend. The first thing that greets me upon opening the box is an errata sheet, which, you know, I maybe have a different opinion than others. Errata, I think, are unavoidable, meaning there's always going to be something that's got to be corrected or tweaked. But to me, significant errata is a problem. This looks like it has maybe 8 or 10 different pieces of errata. Probably that's fairly average, but they printed it, and then obviously they found out about the errata. Rather than reprint, they have provided this one-page sheet. So That's the first thing that greets you. Obviously, I know not the best thing. I'm going to go ahead and pull all these books out. Remember I told you I said 4 books, but there's actually 5 of them. I mean, look at that. Look how ridiculous. All the rules and the detail. Now, I will say, don't be scared away by that. Jerry White and his rule sets, like an Enemy Coast Ahead and his other games, he's just very detailed. He gives a lot of good examples. So this is a look at the rule book. And if you had this in your hand, man, this is like a book. I mean, this is not your typical 10, 12, 14 page rule book. This thing is thick, and it is chock full. This is 62 pages, so you can see that's 62. But look at the detail. Big text. Probably they could have condensed this down to 30 or 40 pages. Lots of big examples. There's pictures, different explanations, etc. But yeah, this is the rule book. It goes through all the different examples. For instance, here this talks about the engage action, and then here it's going to give you a graphical understanding and walkthrough of that engage action. So you're going to read it, and then you're going to be able to see immediately how to do those things. Here's completion action, airstrike, initiative, the concept of initiative, maneuvers, etc. You can see this is a really great rule book, very well done. I've started reading some of it, and it is very easy to understand. I will say that the concepts are different. I've never necessarily played a game like this. But there you go. There's a look at that rule book. There's a look at some of the different ships and counters that are going to come in. The major playing pieces are these wooden bits. There are British and German. The British are tan. The German are white, and they have these very cool markings. The cylinders are referred to as stations, and the sticks, the matchsticks, are trajectories. So that's the way you're going to mark the location, not necessarily the location, but the trajectory of your task force on the map. You're not going to know exactly where they are until they engage and break radio silence. That's the whole concept, really, really quick. The whole concept of this game is that the Admiralty and the Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, they were stuck at home as their ships early in 1940 and 1941 were out fighting the Battle of the Atlantic, trying to get supplies to and fro to different troops and, different markets. As you remember, the United States were sending stuff over to Britain. So it's that battle. And the reality is, you really only knew a couple of things about a task force. One, how many ships were in it, and it's never really a secret. Not a secret in this game. In fact, there was such good intel that almost everybody knew exactly what ships made up each of these flotilla or task forces. In fact, when Bismarck left the port, everybody knew it, and they were hunting it down or trying to get away from it. So that's not really represented, but the only thing you really know is the port of demarcation and your destination. And the distance between those are called your trajectory. Now, you generally know along what course you're going to go to get from one port to another. And you're going to track those with those matchsticks that I just showed you in the rule book. But that's about it you're going to know until they engage and radio home. There's intel markers that are going to be placed, combat that might happen. You're going to do searches in the ocean. And when the enemy finds them, then at home you know where it is. So you're not necessarily moving along that trajectory. It just represents your movements, right? Here's a look at the tutorial book. Oh, and one other comment I wanted to say. The reason that this is set up the way it is in that basement room where the Admiralty and Winston Churchill met. They had a huge map of the oceans, and they would have stick pins and string that they would place and affix to different points showing where the ships were going, not necessarily where they were, but where they were going and along what course. So that's how they tracked them. Once they broke radio silence, they could put a new pin where that was and understand exactly where they were, send out ships to help or support or whatever. So that's that concept that you're going to see in this game. You're using those trajectories that represented those lines. So here's a look at the tutorial book. This is literally just examples of how to do the different actions. Very good descriptions, beautiful pictures. These are going to be very helpful to me in trying to understand how this game plays. Just very well done. This is, my gosh, this is 55 pages. So we've looked at the rule book and the tutorial. You've got some advanced battle rules. I'm not necessarily going to go through that. But then you've got two scenario books. You've got a solitaire scenario and a two-player scenario. So once again, this game can be played solo. And there's a whole bunch of scenarios and how you can do that. So very well fleshed out system. I think that has a lot of opportunities. There's even some mini scenarios if you look here at this bottom. And you can see there's, how many are there? 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 12 of those. And then operational scenarios that are going to take, you know, more like 3, 4 turns or something. You got 8 of those. And then you have some campaign games. So yeah, these are amazing. Once again, I wanted to show you that stack of paper. This killed about 5 trees because they printed 2,000 copies of this. But look at that. Look at those stacks of rule books. Just amazing. And I would say that's similar to what other games by GMT and Jerry White have been. Those Enemy Coast Ahead games also have a lot of scenarios and different information like that. Let's go ahead and pull out the next thing. I mean, there's just, remember I said it was chock to the brim. It really is full all the way to the top. Here's a map card. This is double-sided. This is the Norwegian Sea. You can see the different ports listed here. And then here you've got the North Sea. But very, very nice looking map card. Here you've got a couple, German force pool schedule, British force pool schedule. I don't necessarily understand all of what that's for. These are the task force displays. These are not hidden information. Your opponent can at any time look at each of these task forces to understand what ships are in what groups. And that's not hidden information. Here it has listed at the bottom of this task force display your various actions. Those are not double-sided. They are single-sided. And remember I said the number of task force. You can see these are those station markers. Looks like this is station 0, 1, 2 because it has 2 markers on it. But there's a 3. I'm not sure if that's exactly, but that's the British task force display. Then you have player aids. Looks like 3 of them. Has a ton of actions. These are really well produced. They'll stand up. Very similar to Coin Series. Player aids, you're going to fold these in and out, looking at all these different actions. My guess is each player has their own. In fact, these are the German action. This is the German action menu. Let's see if this is the British action menu. No, that's German as well. Maybe I already missed that, but there's the player aids. This has 2 counter sheets. 1.5, sorry. Really nice looking counters. I'm not going to get to clip these, unfortunately, until we play it. I'm recovering, and it's harder to sit up for a long period of time right now from a surgery. But yeah, look at those markers. Very well done. They look great. Double-sided, good, clear information. Love the use of color. And these represent the different ships involved. So yeah, there's a lot of those. Here's the half counter sheet. Once again, it's just more ships. Here's some intel markers. Different things. Evasive maneuvers. So yeah, great looking counters. As is usual, the map board. It is mounted, so you're gonna have a really nice play surface. Let me get that baggie off. They always put the bag. Let me go ahead and spread this map out so you can see it. Bear with me. But it's a big one. And it's a big one that has a lot of blue. Kind of reminds me of Empire of the Sun. You know, most of that map. Oops, I dropped the boxes on the ground. Most of that Empire of the Sun map is literally... man, it's just so much stuff here. I'm having trouble. Let me throw the errata on the ground. But you can get a look there at that map. That is significant. Really looks great. Lots of information here. You can, here I'm gonna move. You can see down here in the bottom all these different boxes for the different actions that coincide with the different dice rolls that you're gonna have. You got ranges, you got time, interruption. You have some modifiers here that are listed. I don't exactly know everything that's on the board, but you can see it's a really nice mounted map board. Really looks great. And then here's all that wood. I mean, look at, I just think this is so cool. There's even some spares. They have a little baggie that is marked spares. Now they are all black, so I'm not sure what that means because nothing else here is black. But yeah, there's just bag after bag. So here's a look at those trajectory markers. Here's those stations that I mentioned to you. And there's just a bunch of those different colors. Remember, these are the Germans. I mean, those are just really well made. These are the British. And then I think the British have some red and some lighter brown. But you can see there's a lot of different wood, a lot of different moving pieces to this game. Comes with 4 dice, 2 red, 2 blue. Really a nice product, as we've come to expect from GMT. They don't make games that aren't nice. I don't think so. I've enjoyed all their games and really have enjoyed playing them, learning them, and then sharing them with you, frankly. But that's it. That's Atlantic Chase from GMT Games. I don't know what else I need to talk to you about, but man, that's impressive. That's a lot of cardboard, a lot of wood, and dare say it, I say a lot of love packed into this 3-inch box. It's a big one. This is a big game. As I've dove into this, looked at the rules, looked at the play videos, I'm going to be honest, this is going to be a game that you can probably explore for 8, 10, 12 plays before you really start to get a good feel for exactly what it is. We'll try to play it a couple of different times and at least get a good enough understanding to share it with you. But this is one I'd love to try solo as well. So there you have it, Atlantic Chase from GMT Games, one of their newest games off of P500. Check it out if you have not ordered this or thought about this. This is a game that you're going to want to get your hands on. It is a different type of war game, but it is very, very cool. So there you go. Thanks. I've been Grant for the Player's Aid.